it, and then the last part on how do we uh, the financial management issues that are there. Considering that issues, how do we grow our practice in the given situation? So, what are the opportunities available? So, friends, I take one small liberty from you to speak in Hindi along with English. Yeah. So, let's understand uh, when we say we are a chartered accountant, what do we think about ourselves? So, the thing that a chartered accountant in the initial days is basically was the person who was at the helm of accounting affairs. So we were the accountant. We are given by the law the power to do audit. Statutory audit is our monopolistic right in the company under Companies Act. Tax audit we do. We now do GST audits. So technically, we were the accountant and the auditors. So when you see how the profession has fared over a period, uh, uh, how the profession has fared over a period, you, you will be able to understand how we have coped up at all stages. Right. So in the initial days, if we see of the practice long back,
क्या किया बोर्डिंग चला गया, वो दिख नहीं रहा हमको, कुछ किया
yeah. If we see our practices, if you, in the early 80s or somewhere, we had a very stable practice as a chartered accountant. The audit was on, the taxation was on. Annually, we had one great event that used to be known as a budget, for which all chartered accountant used to wait. Thereafter that budget, we used to have a various budget meeting where we actually encrypt the sections that had been changed, and the impact of that on our clients is what we used to study over a period. Then it came 1990s. In 1990s, how it went. So in 1990s, there was a huge change. Like in end of 80s also, the computer started entering the system. So the chartered accountants who were previously accustomed with manual accounting, manual totaling, manual auditing, thereafter they had to the computer entered into the profession, and the usage of computer started. There was a globalization that took place in 90s, which also made a lot of changes in the various laws. Then came our service tax. So the tax practitioners, the chartered accountant who claim to be a tax practitioner into indirect, also entered into an indirect tax practice at that level. During globalization, the change from law of FERA to FEMA came into play. Several chartered accountants started and entered into a practice of FEMA. Now, this was a gradual change in the role of a chartered accountant. What's the gradual change? The chartered accountant did not limit himself to the profession of accounts and audit. He went beyond that. The reason was that the chartered accountants are trained and equipped with such a good training that many times I say in my sessions that if a chartered accountant is given a manual on how to do open heart surgery and given a 1 month's time, after 1 month, if he is asked to do open heart surgery, he would be one who will be able to do it successfully. Because we go to the depth of the study in such a manner that I don't think any other professional would be going into such depth. And because of that reason, we and our study of law during our training, our routine practice is of a huge success, basically, or asset to us. The law, how we read the law, how we understand. Sometimes, when you actually go to the lawyers, you will understand that we may understand the law and give them the guidance on this. So various the opportunities that lie came in FEMA, many grabbed and they became expert in FEMA. They expert, then they came into international taxation. The one who practiced in FEMA entered into international taxation and did that. With globalization, overseas outsourcing work started coming to India. Though the chartered accountants, many chartered accountants started studying overseas taxation law and getting the business outsourced from the CPAs to India to do that work. So complete back office was outsourced and they started doing that practice. Then came 2000. In 2000, the scenario changed. We shifted in second 2016 was the year when the huge changes came comparatively. The major was introduction of GST, introduction of IBC, demonetization. Now this completely changed the way the chartered practiced. So in the given scenario, when the chartered in the old times, most of the time in our region, basically, many of the charters were never into indirect tax practice. GST came and everyone entered into GST. So that gave an opportunity. Friends, but I have my own reservation on the GST compliance practices that where all charters have entered. It is the litigation practice that will be remunerative. All charters should focus on litigation practice than on compliance practice. Today, the issue that we face at our practice level is major because we have taken the more practice of compliances than understanding and doing the advisory or litigation work. What is always to be understood is when you do compliance practice, you always become a cost center for the organization. And whatever is the cost center, the growth in the, when you are a cost center, the growth doesn't happen. The growth only happens when you move outside the cost center and become a revenue center. What is revenue center? The revenue center for any organization is the where the cash flow increases, where revenue increases. So when you enter into that fields of an advisory or you enter into a field where the growth of the organization is there, your practice increases. Secondly, one we need to know is I always frame it as a law of scalability. What is the law of scalability? Like when you started your practice in the initial days, there would have been a consistent flow of good business coming to you, or at least for after 6 months, there would have been a consistent flow. Now that flow of business, whatever came, you accepted it, you took it over and you started growing. Now there would have been a stage where any additional business, you will require an additional resource to help you. So either you delegate the old thing to the new person who resources that you are taking, or the new assignment that you are getting where you take a help of the new person. Now this also can grow to a certain level. So there is always a scalability. A simple example with reference to our Mumbai, I always give. In Mumbai, everyone has a very good fascination of vada pav. Each and every lane you go, you will find at least 5 vendors selling vada pavs. So what happens now? So whenever any vada pav person center starts, initially for him to sell 100 vada pavs is not an issue. Then to gradually grow from 100 to 1000 is a challenge. Same way, I am not comparing us with that vendor. I am just comparing the business criteria. Like for any business, similarly at certain level, there is a stagnancy. And thereafter, if you want to jump beyond the certain level, then you need to have to put a lot of resources, lot of efforts to grow. So the challenge lies at that level. So when we are looking at the evaluation of a chartered accountant, let's understand the latest part. Let's not go into the too much history, how we survived in the phase when globalization came, service tax came. How did the practice was affected at that time too? How did we survive? Now let's go just 3 years back, 2016, when demonetization came. Everyone knows that there is a parallel economy. There was a parallel economy in India. India survived the Lehman Brothers crisis at that time because parallel economy was prevalent in India at that time. By demonetization, the parallel economy was paralyzed. Then the came was the introduction of GST. Then came the introduction of IBC, that is insolvency. There for real estate side came RERA. I think in Calcutta RERA has not been affected, but other than that, all places RERA is very much in place. Now this all act at the same timing between September 2016 to December. That is September, October. That is October, November, December. In 3 months, were bombarded on the all total India, all the people of India, all professionals started focusing on these laws. The tax also went to income tax also changes went to a great extent. IBC was revolutionizing the total financials of the company. The companies were they never adhere to the financial governance. A corporate governance was missing in many companies. So 2013 Companies Act revamped that and opened the opportunity. And in the Companies Act 2013, the whole game change of corporate governance came. IBC started bringing financial disciplines into the companies. So, friends, over a period when we are looking at all these things, what was the thing in the time of COVID? Frankly, what I feel is when COVID came, already we were on the downturn of the economy. Last 2 years before the declaration of lockdown due to COVID, there was a huge there was a huge financial crisis that prevailed, and that was there in the business community. Cash flow were actually not there. Major business was on credit, and we were trying to survive during that period. So now, when you see that last 2 years, we were always grappling on these issues of financial crisis. Then, what difference does the COVID make? Is that 2 months lockdown made everyone bankrupt? Is that the 2 months lockdown created a lot of issues for everyone? No, friends. The thing that went in 2 months is something different. When you were in crisis, when you were in trouble, what you do is you try to find some way and used to push the situation to the future and always trying to come out of that crisis. But as the whole economy was at the downturn, things that you may be planning at that time mean even 80% of time the success may not be there. So now this COVID-19 lockdown, I consider is as a boon for everyone, and especially a chartered accountant. This can be a game changer. Game changer in a means that this is an opportunity for us to review our working, to review what we were doing, to review what are the new areas that can be entered into, and we can practice. The always the idea as a chartered accountant is that I am a auditor, I am a accountant, and I am the best in that area. Let's grow our thought on a bigger scale. I am a chartered accountant means I have studied the law in a manner where I can read any law and interpret any law to the best of the experts available in that field. Now, when you understand this, you understand that over a period, when you read any new upcoming law and you start practice on that, within 3 years, you will be considered an expert in that area. believe me, like as Sanjay introduced me, I had an opportunity to come to Kolkata for training the IPs in that pre-registration batch at Kolkata. So what happens is that years, more than 2 decades, I'm practicing into a chartered accountant. As a tax practitioner, uh, as a tax practitioner, basically, we have very senior veterans, chartered accountants practicing into the tax with 2 decades of practice, getting acclamation as an expert in that field is something really difficult for any chartered accountant to be. So, but in these 3 years, as a IP, insolvency professional, I tried my level best to gather the knowledge, share the knowledge, execute the transactions. I have executed more than 50 transactions in these 3 years under IBC. I have delivered more than 150 lectures on IBC in these 3 years. So what happens is that you got to be known in the fraternity as an expert on this subject. People start relying on you. That's where the opportunity starts coming to you. That's where the people, your fellow chartered accountant friend who has some difficulty in some matter which is handling on the law that you are expert on, will fall back on you, and you, instead of hunting for the business, will get the business right at your doorstep. So there is a huge opportunities. Now, what are the opportunities that we will discuss at the later stage? First, we will discuss that in COVID-19, what are the things that a chartered accountant has to take a positive. I am always of a view that a person should always be having a positive thinking. It does not mean only positive thinking. He should try and execute that. So when you do anything, or when you react to anything, your mind or a subconscious mind also reacts to that. So when you are taking the COVID-19 as a positive effect, automatically your mind will also get accustomed to it, and your mind will give you a route, a new direction, and new way of thinking, that how it is positive. So what are the positives of this? Believe me, I started practice since the day of my practice till this lockdown. These 2 months being at home was the first time, probably after my school life, I would have stayed at home. It would have been the first time in my life after marriage that the 2 months after my honeymoon, which was for 1 month, I had taken. This was the time, 2 months I spent with my family, my wife, and so friends, this gave me a lot of insight. What I was practicing during my previous lockdown, what I was doing. I have a staff strength in my Mumbai office of more than 40 people. During lockdown, luckily we were using a software which was a cloud based, so we were easily able to move the things to the cloud, and from work from home was a little bit simpler. So what happened during this period? So during this period, the things that we at a partner level analyzed was that the team of 40 people, what output we were getting today with a limited number from work at home, all the employees are not having the facility actually to work from home. Limited numbers of laptops were there, so we had provided to the key employees the laptops. So that had been done. Simultaneously, the people, some staff had computers at home, so they were allowed to work on things. So what we came to a conclusion was 50% of staff was enough to actually deliver what I wanted at that point of time. So what was happening in past? What was happening in past means, it does not mean that actually that 50% were just making time pass, or they were not delivering the goods. But the things which as a principal I could have managed, and if I could have managed the task on a timely manner, I could have got it done from my 20 people which I was getting it done from my 40 people. So now today, when I analyze, I have excess staff. The major cost of a chartered accountant is the staff. Now, when you see that you can do it automate in an automated manner, a lot of things, and the requirement of staff reduces, then that excess staff becomes an issue because to get they are there with us, trained with us. Today in this crisis, if we relieve them, they will have an issue because all the other firms will have the same thing. So what to do? So with that staff, what has to be done was we have to create a new verticals. We created a research center at our end where the staff who are not into actually deliverables of the clients assignments that we have, they are started working. They started preparing SOPs on various things. They have started working on the old SOPs on which we were working to minutely go into detailing of that things. So today, if we see, we have at our end, we have come to a conclusion that had we done all this exercise in past, the deliverables that we could have got was at a much cheaper cost, and the timelines that we would have adhered would have been much faster, and we could have at least added 10 more clients to our kitty, which initially, because of the lack of team or last moment pressure, we were not able to take. So friends, when you see COVID-19 situation, you understand this thing on a positive note. Another positive takeaway from the COVID-19 from at our end was the being at home and working from home and working from the office. Now, initial days, it was like when you have to work from home, it was something like how do we manage with all family members around, talking to the client, attending the meetings, doing conferences on Zoom. We were not so comfortable most of the time. Now today we are accustomed. My son in school now he is also having Microsoft Team and attending school through Microsoft Team. Initial they started with Zoom. We got accustomed to the technology in the given period. Now what this benefits of the technology is that today had it been the old time before COVID to have a lecture at Calcutta and get a speaker from Mumbai, the Mumbai speaker had to travel to Calcutta, the traveling cost, the time involved in that, maintaining the speaker's thing at that time would have been eventually a substantial cost. Today, just by connecting each other, we could do this, share the knowledge, and uh, talk together as we are there, as I am there in Calcutta. You can have a discussion. So this was another big advantage that COVID-19 gave to all of us, where the boundaries, geographical boundaries, are broken, where the networking opportunities increased, because now through Zoom we can have Zoom or a various video conferencing tools. We can have a various meeting, discussion one-on-one or in a group, come to a conclusion, network ourselves, grow the our profession and the opportunities in these lines. So friends, in the second level, when we are looking the positiveness of the COVID-19, we can easily see that if we don't think of what is going about. Now, this is what actually, now, if what I understood that in Kolkata, you have already started working. In Bombay, we are still under the lockdown position. The things are not at all good in Mumbai, technically speaking. So now what we have to understand is that in Calcutta, in Delhi, the people's are the lockdown has been open up, and the people are moving around. Now we are going to make this thing as a normal COVID unless the medicine comes. The solution for this is nothing but only to increase your immunity. That is what all doctors say. Even if you get admitted after getting positive anyone, then what doctor does is only give them the medicines to increase their immunity, and in critical, if the situation is critical, then they have a ventilator and oxygen gases and all that to support the life system of a person who gets admitted. So now this will be our new normal. So before COVID, the what was normal, now during COVID, we faced a lot of challenges. And today, now what we are going to post lock and locking of this situation is what we term it as a new normal. Now, new normal will be a normal over a period. So we have to understand that in this new normal, what are the things that are available for a chartered accountant to grow his practice? What are the things that the chartered accountant can look into in increasing his revenue? Growing his practice by increasing client is one mode of looking at it. Growing his practice by increasing revenue is another mode of looking into it. So, friends, first and foremost, I would suggest all chartered accountants to get themselves registered under MSME Act. It is Udyog Aadhar number, which you have to take. It's a mere 15 minutes, max 15 minutes online process that one has to do. The benefits that you have is the clients, whenever normally I have faced, and I also hear from my fellow other colleagues that the payment is always also our crisis. We deliver on time, we take the client's headache on our head. At night 12 o'clock we are filing the return for the client who is nicely sleeping at that time. Still, when it comes to the payment, it gets delayed always. It is not that when we raise the bill we get to the payment. And under GST, because of that, we also have a cash flow crunch, because as soon as you raise a GST bill, you have to pay whether you get or not. So now in that given scenario, the things that we have to see is that how do we improve our cash flow. So one of the mechanism is become a register yourself as a MSME. We all qualify as a MSME. I have been doing this since last 5 years when it came to my knowledge. And then what I used to do is, after I send the bill in my invoice, I write Udyog Aadhar number also. And once I have sent that invoice, if it is a company, listed company, if it is a listed company, obviously they will be able to pay that within 45 days, or they will have to pay a higher cost interest as per the act. The act in that case clearly mentions that if your terms of payments are 90 days, but as per MSME Act, if it is 45 days, it is 45 days. Whatever the terms you define may not become a term as per that. So what happens is, whenever you raise an invoice, you get an assurance of getting payment within 45 days. And in absence of which, you get an assurance of getting interest paid on the delayed payment. So friends, this is one of the big tools that you have to use. After sending invoice on 38 days, send a reminder to the clients that we are a MSME entrepreneur and professional, and under MSME Act, reproduce the section and say, so in case if you don't do make our payment, then you will have to pay with interest post 45 days, which is so and so day. Send them 2 reminders which will make them alert on this. And believe me, they have paid. In my case, we have been able to recover money in 45 days from most of the clients. There are some clients where it's a nuisance. So that client where you feel that every time you have to creep with him he creeps on the money, that client is the client which is unwanted in our system. So what will happens? What is the always fright? अरे यार मैं नहीं करूंगा तो क्या दूसरा चार्टर्ड नहीं करेगा क्या? Yes, दूसरा चार्टर्ड करेगा. जो जिसको वो काम करना है, let him do. The one who wants to run behind the client for his money, let him run. Why do you want to waste your time? Is there a lack of time, excess time that you have to waste on that person? No. So identify this type of clients, segregate them separately, When you segregate that separately, you will come to know that you get access at least 50% of your time from the routine time that you are spending now. This 50% time, uh, devote of that 25% of the time towards new studies, study of new law, study of new act, judgments. And that balance 50% time that is there, you start devoting that to expand your profession to that law which you have started studying. We as a chartered accountant have a right to appear in tribunal also, right? But most of the time, I have seen that in tribunal, we prepare all the documents, we prepared all the arguments, we prepare all the applications, and then we appoint a counsel to argue on our behalf. Now, what is that that counsel has, and what is that we are not having? It is only the confidence. It is only that the confidence to stand in front of the lordship. It is only that we are lacking on the communication skill probably, that we avoid going to the tribunal as a counsel. Preparation of the documents, the charge we charge, and the counsel for his briefing and appearing he charge, you will understand the difference. So the things which you are outsourcing, if you can take start developing yourself or your in-house team to get into that area of practice which you are outsourcing, will automatically increase your revenue. So looking at these aspects of practice, what are the traditional practice areas? Statutory audit, internal audit, tax audit. Then came the era when we started looking into the practice as a forensic auditor. What is that forensic auditor? It is a detailed investigation that we carry out. So it's an audit process where we identify the transactions which are of manipulative nature, which are disguised, or the entries in the books are showing, the balance sheet is showing in a different manner, but the intention or the promoters were actually different. So we try and identify the things. So there was a time when the word structuring of transaction was being used at all levels, and that structuring means actually putting a mask on the transaction in a manner that you try to circumvent law. Today what is happening is the lawmakers have gone too ahead, that wherever they feel that a mask has been put on, they dissect that mask and they open up that structure, and now they are grilling the people. Benami Act is nothing but going beyond and piercing the will. So, example of Benami, the specifically that everyone will be knowing is the property is purchased, but in the name of third party who does not have a source of income to substantiate the purchase of property, and the beneficial use of that property is done by another person who has actually gave him the money to buy it. Now, this is a classic example of a Benami transaction. Now, if you go to unearth all this type of transaction now, when the system in past was different. So now what is happening with the new government post 2014, when the BJP taking over the things, the change in the idealism, the change in the business model has taken place. Now this is the opportunity that chartered accountants should take it in their manner and look, because now you have, for example, 100 clients, of which 50 clients are into some X business. Now all businesses, all sectors, the business model which were prevailing in past may not be the same in future. You helping them to now restructure their business organization, giving them the model, business model which will be more apt to them, will be more successful for them to implement. Now, here one caution note for all chartered accountants. when I started my IP practice, this is what I learned at the first go of my IP practice. I will share that incident to give you a clarity. What happens as a chartered accountant? Our mind and our way of working, we are trained in certain manner. We will have to change that. Now, what is that I am asking to change? I am not asking you to change your way of working. I am not asking you to change your way how you read, how you learn. What I am asking is a very small thing that I would like you to look into this period. When I started as a IP practitioner in 2017, why I entered into IP practice, insolvency practice. In 2000, I say, like when FEMA came, there was a chartered accountant in Mumbai whom I know, Natwar Bhai. So Natwar Bhai was entered into the practice of FEMA. And over a period, he was considered in all the sessions wherever the speaker for FEMA is required. He was the first one to be contacted. So I had an opportunity to discuss with him. So he said, Snehal, I learned this way, that when FEMA came, my routine practice was actually getting stagnated. So I thought, let's me try and read this law. I read, then when I read, I delivered some lectures. Then I started writing notes and circulating it. People started coming me for FEMA advisory. And today, my 80% business is on inbound, outbound investment, advising on structuring how to do this. And the revenue that I am getting in this advisory and doing this business, out comes my old revenue. So I said, very good. So this was always in my mind to do. So in 2004, when SARFAESI Act came, I entered into SARFAESI Act also. Now, at that time, when I entered into SARFAESI Act, it was completely different ballgame. SARFAESI has nothing to do with our accounting and auditing profession. It's a complete recovery business that you have to do. So we entered in 2000. I entered into that SARFAESI in 2004. I had set up my team. We are still running that organization. 2017, insolvency came. I entered into insolvency at that time because my SARFAESI business would get divided at that time. So either a banker had a choice to go under SARFAESI or under insolvency. So I entered into insolvency. Then I understood during that period that when I entered into insolvency, that when this area was a predominantly, that is insolvency area, was a predominantly a area of advocates. Previously, when anyone wants to declare himself bankrupt or insolvent, the process he had to follow is the under Presidential Town Act, he had to go to the court and get himself declared insolvent. Now, this was a lawyer's area. So when you want to become an insolvent also, or you want to declare someone insolvent, the lawyers used to charge a hefty sum on this advisory and this arguing this matters also. So this was predominantly that area where somehow or the other, because of the new law, we had got an entry now. So in insolvency, I always tell my IP friends that without lawyer, if you start working, it becomes suicidal. No doubt we are good in interpreting the law, but the system, judiciary system is such that it is not mere interpretation. You need to know much more beyond that if you want to practice law. So what is that was required? So I had got assistants. I had various friends, old friends, school-time friends who are also now solicitors, and they were practicing law. So I asked one of my friend, and he said, स्नेहल तेरे को इंसॉल्वेंसी का प्रैक्टिस करना है ना, तो पहले एक लीगल वाले के पास बैठ के सीख ले क्या करना चाहिए. So I said, okay, friend. So he said, come to my office. I will guide you, and you will only sit in my office for half a day, and you will gain a lot of insight on what I am trying to say. I went to his office. Till lunchtime, we were together. I was sitting, he was doing his routine work, and we were discussing. Clients came for his advice. A conference was there at his end. So I was a part of that, and we sat. By the time during lunchtime, he said, Snehal, have you observed anything? I said, I thought you to be a very intelligent fellow, being a solicitor, I had never thought that for small queries you need to go back to your books and study. So he said, okay, so this is what you have understood till now. I said, yes. So he said, let's go. You can go to your office now. In the evening, we'll meet for a dinner. In the evening, when we met for the dinner, he said, Snell, what was I wanted to convey to you was a very small thing. The small things that you thought that you or your any of your junior member also could answer, I did not answer. Am I correct? He asked me. So I said, yes, you are absolutely correct in doing that. So he said, I also knew the answer. But the same time, when I would have answered that query at that front, the next thing that client of mine would have said, कि sir, ये तो मेरे को मालूम था, मेरे को कुछ और चाहिए. Now, what I have done is nothing. I took the file from him. You would have seen that my staff took it out. By the end of the day, he would have prepared the report on it, which you know that the junior can prepare. I would have signed, and along with that, my invoice would be there. Tomorrow, that same person will come, will take this file, will pay my invoice and go. And he will be more happy to take this advice in this manner because he will feel that for that small query of his, I have sat whole night, studied the whole book and traced this invoice. As a chartered accountant, you have a habit, he said, that whenever someone puts your question, you come out with the answer spontaneously to show your knowledge. Now, that's where the commercial sense lacks at your end. So he gave me a very good insight on what has to be done and what not to be done. And from that day, I took one theme in my office also: no free advices. Free advices only on the chartered forums where I deliver lectures. Other forums also, I don't give free advices. So we try as a chartered accountant, we have to take this as a positive look. Many have a thing, अरे स्नेहल भाई ऐसा आप कैसा बोलते हो, अपना तो प्रोफेशन ही है ऐसा, तो अपने को देना पड़ता है एडवाइस, और किसी को बोल दिया तो क्या नुकसान है, अरे बोल दिया तो उसका तो कुछ नहीं है, तुम्हारा नुकसान है. He will never come back to you for that advice. And then what value addition would you do after you already given a spontaneous answer? You cannot, you don't have any added material to be given to that. You can say that, okay, with that answer, I will give 5 case laws. He will not require that 5 case law because he has understood what was his problem. What we are good at identifying problem as an auditor, right? Now we move one step ahead. Once we identify the problem, let's now start giving solution to the problems. We have been doing it, but only for the purpose of the audits. Now let's go with a broader vision. Let's go to a client to advise him on the points where the things may go beyond this, where you can tell that this is the issues and this is how you will have to, if you sort out, this is how you will get extra cash flow or extra revenue. Believe me, this advisory, once you start, your clients start availing it, you will start also when you raise your bill or invoice, he will be the one to pay you faster and on timely basis. So 2 points: one, MSME; second, on the advisory part, don't give your client any free advisory. Stop free advisory. Free lunches are not that. Let your client understand. Charge minimum if you feel that you don't want to charge him heavily. We always feel that अरे ये चीज के लिए क्या charge करने का. But when you go to a doctor, a MBBS, he will always give you, when you say I have a pain, he always give you a paracetamol. Does he, even though you know that he's giving you paracetamol, doesn't charge you? He will always charge you. Even though you know that what he is giving, he knows that this is a routine medicine that he needs to give you. So they charge you. Why? Because they are professional. Advocate. They charge you for their advice. They charge you for the conference. We get a chartered accountant, we get a lot of calls from clients. अरे सर मेरे को ये जानना है. फोन पे ही चालू हो जाता है. And फोन पे ही वो अपना 5 क्वेरी डाल देता है. और हम उसका फोन पे आंसर देना चालू कर देते हैं. What we have to say? Okay, these are your queries. Kindly send the mail. Let me go through it. That will not make a client understand that you don't have that knowledge. He will take it in a different manner. This is a human psychology. He will take it that okay, मैंने ये query में कुछ तो ऐसा बोला जो उसको नहीं मालूम था, उसके लिए वो पूरी रात पढ़ेगा. And then when you charge him, he will be happy to pay you. Otherwise, he says, अरे ये तो उसको मालूम था, ये वाला चीज में कोई मजा ही नहीं है. Why do we pay? This is a human psychology. For this is specifically, I'm trying to address the issues that a MSME chartered accountant faces. The small and medium, the clients that we cater, the client expect us to have a knowledge of each and everything. उसके घर पे कुछ भी होता है, he come back to us. अरे सर ऐसा ऐसा है, क्या करने का? अरे सर मेरे को म्यूचुअल फंड में डालना है, कौन सा अच्छा है? सर मेरे को LIC में इन्वेस्ट करना है, लाइफ इंश्योरेंस में डालना है, कौन से लाइफ इंश्योरेंस कंपनी का? Now, as a chartered accountant, for that also work, either you have to do your study. Okay, you may be doing that wealth advisory for yourself and you are investing, so you are studying for yourself and that's why you know the things. But that is not free to be given free to the other clients. This is what we do every time, giving free to the clients. Are LIC, okay. Then sometimes what we do, we tie up with some agents and then उसको shoot कर दो और वहां से वापस अपने पास आएगा थोड़ा बहुत कमीशन. Now, do you think we are qualified with such a qualification? We look forward for that commission? No. If that is the case, there are charters who are into wealth management specifically. Network with them. Network with them. You can give them the wealth business and he can give you an audit client. That is how you have to network. The networking gives immense scope and the growth can be multiplier. I was going through our annual report of ICAI, and if you see how many firms are having more partners, more than 10, more than 20, the number start declining and it comes into 2 digits. Once it cross 15, now number comes in 2 digits. So now that means that in the whole India, the audits that happen are controlled by few. Why it is controlled by few? Because they do lot of advisory, they do lot of network. I always hear from my MSME friends, they creeping on the big fours. The big fours are the people who get the maximum. Why? Because they network themselves. What they network? What do they do? So what always the question arises is, the Deloitte Indian company appoints a Deloitte because their counterpart in US is appointed Deloitte. So they want a globally same auditor for all the companies. Now, why don't we think of getting global? That does not mean that is a brand. Deloitte is a brand. Okay. PwC is a brand. Let's not think on that brand or what the mechanism they follow. I'm just saying that why don't we network amongst ourselves within India or outside India with the foreign countries, CAPs, to get this type of business. It's purely a networking business. There is nothing beyond that. So this even we can do, but we don't have a time to focus on how to grow our practice, how to create these networks. We are always focused on कि okay ये client है और एक दो client add हो जाए. Why don't we think कि और एक दो firm add हो जाए अपने साथ? Why don't we think that the firms that we are close or we know each other can try and do something different and grow our practice? Let's start looking into that there are 5 firms, proprietary concerns, and they are all 5 close friends, each who discusses almost everything on the regular basis. But they all are basically jack of all trades. Let's start differentiating. Okay, you do indirect, I do direct, I do internal, I do statutory, I focus on bank. And divide the businesses. Restructure the portfolios, keeping the revenue intact. The structuring, look, playing with numbers is what is there now with all chartered accountants. We know how to play with it. So we can design a structure for at least ourselves where we can see that when we restructure our portfolios to regroup it so that our revenue does not fall, the other friend's revenue who is joining us does not fall, and automatically business starts growing. This is how the firms have changed the routes. This is how KPMG does not mean that it is one. It's a KPMG and PwC and all big four is basically a group of firms that have joined together and doing the practices. They have a verticals in specializing in that, because once you specialize, you command revenue. Once you are a general practitioner doing compliance work, you don't get revenue. Over a period after this, during this lockdown, what I understand is over a period, the compliance practice will become a redundant practice for a chartered accountant, will be a burdensome practice for a chartered accountant, because that practice, what you do, will be practiced by others. There will be a graduate who will be also having access to a software, and he will also do the same practice, compliance work. Compliance may not require the knowledge that we have to do, that our staff are able to execute it. But when we do that practice, the responsibility of whatever staff does also comes to us. So what has to happen? Staff is doing, we have to recheck it. Our time gets involved in that compliance work. So get a structure made where that compliance, your time in compliance work gets minimum 10 to 15% over a period, and maximum you start into a litigation or a law practice. Litigation or law practice does not mean appearing in the court. Litigation and law advisory means understanding a law, different laws, interpreting it, and doing advisory work on that. Like regrouping the business, changing the business model of the company is one of the biggest opportunity I foresee. In the coming days, restructuring of a business loans is a small part, which almost all chartered accountants, I feel, would have been having a knowledge on it. Debt syndication, which the chartered accountant, whoever was doing, would do restructuring of the proposals. Now, restructuring of the loan proposal is a micro assignment, but restructuring of an organization will become a macro. Now, what you can get in micro, if you compare it with macro, you will come to know that the opportunity in doing that will lie in a big way. A simple example, in these 2 months, I फ्री था, वेबिनार के अलावा कुछ का अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं था, फैमिली के साथ टाइम और वेबिनार, ये दो ही चीज तो सब लोग ने किया रहेगा. So in that, I was also not an exception. So but I have a habit of reading. So read करते रहा. Then I started thinking on that, how could I improve a cash flow for my client, or how could I improve cash flow or profits of my client. So while studying, I came across some companies into solar. I am into debt syndication and startup investment and all. So I also have an investor base with me. So what I did was I structured out a product with the solar companies that are there, EPC companies that are known to me, and investor. We came out with a product that any company who is using the electricity and that electricity what is being used is something around 1 megawatt, then we can help the industry to reduce that cost. What we have come out with a solution on that line was that we got investor who will be doing the capital investment on putting a power plant, solar rooftop power plant to that industry, by which we will enter into a PPA with that company. So if the current rate is 11 rupees, we may be able to give him as low as 5 rupees or 5.5 rupees per unit of consumption, which actually means exactly 50% slash without incurring any cost, because capital investment will be done by our client, investor client. The routine O&M of that also will be his responsibility. So the company who wants to avail this thing can avail. Believe me, in this 2 months close down, I have been able to crack around 3 deals on it. because who would not like to reduce their electricity bill, a substantial cost which are there in their balance sheet, without incurring any cost. Now, this is one of the small thought that came and I executed, and I have been able to successful. Now, when you think of your client, you have to think what the cost part, what are the costs that they have, and how do you restructure or reduce that cost. HR, the staff cost. So automation of HR could reduce it to a great extent. So similarly, giving this type of thought, tying up with the teams or the teams, we have been able to do this in a big way. So as a chartered accountant, the creativity to play with numbers to reduce the cost, we have that in our bloods now. So we can use this knowledge base that we have to do and exercise it on our clients. You don't have to search for the clients outside your clientele group also. So this can be done. If you are doing X activity and you are a group of 10 chartered accountants, okay, in this 10 you discuss that, okay, these are the things. In this lockdown, I run IP Foundation. It's a charitable trust which I run. Okay, in that, what we have started now is Podarji is also heading my IP Foundation Calcutta chapter. We have opened 16 chapters during this period. Now we are working on to open a mediation and conciliation center under our IP Foundation. Now, what is this? This is an opportunity. Now, post-lockdown, the financial crisis will be there throughout the economy, throughout the clients. When financial crisis starts, the dispute starts, and dispute when it is raised, it has to go to the conciliator, it has to go to a mediator if it is a low cost disputes. Then that is opportunity for us as a chartered accountant for to look into and settle that dispute. Most of the time clients dispute come on our table and we are the one who settle it, right? We settle the dispute for our own purposes, but we don't term it as a mediation or a conciliation done by us. Have you if we do that as a mediation and conciliation, we can get a good fees on that part also. So we have started in IP Foundation a center for conciliation and mediation, whereby we are empaneling the chartered accountants, we are empaneling the advocates, we are empaneling the judges, we are fixing pricing for the linked with the value of dispute. So based on that, the party, when it approaches the center, they can have a choice from the empaneled mediators and the conciliators to choose for their assignment at a fixed rate which has been fixed by our center. Now, this is how we have to think out of the box during this lockdown. I was very happy actually during lockdown. Start of lockdown, it was like a nightmare for me. I'm a guy who can move outside the place. I'm not in the office from morning to evening. I reach my office at 7 of the evening. Whole day I am out at different places doing meetings. Now it was a nightmare for me to be at home at the start of the thing. So that's where I started looking into the various aspects, that what are the things I have missed in my professional front, in my family life, in my for my own entertainment. During this lockdown, I unearthed a lot of things and I started executing it. I had started IP Foundation in way back in 2018. Since that day, I had a thinking in my mind that we will come out with a newsletter. My first newsletter I was able to come out was in my March newsletter. That also because of lockdown I was able to make and complete it. Now it has become a practice. My April newsletter is also gone. My May newsletter will be also sent forwarded to. So the thing that I carved for in past, which I was not able to do due to the lack of time I used to feel, there was not lack of time. It was a time mismanagement that I used to have. I used to devote on many things the time which I could have not easily avoided doing it. So time management is something that we need to learn. But टाइम मैनेजमेंट पे सेशन और वो सब कोई मतलब का नहीं है. मैंने बहुत सेशन पहले अटेंड की है, बट जब इम्प्लीमेंट आता था तो कुछ नहीं होता था. But this lockdown actually made me think, कि अभी करना क्या है? It was like frustration, growing, sitting at home, doing nothing, cannot create any new clients, cannot do any other business. Then what to do? So that time I went back, analyzed, I understood that I have missed so many things. Let's jot down. I jotted down and started executing it. Believe me, now the things are on roll. So the opportunities for a chartered accountant into mediation and conciliation is also a great opportunity. Study the Arbitration and Conciliation Act, which has been recently amended. You will have opportunity. The MCA under companies at 2013, there also there is a reference under Rule 11 for mediation to be done. So there also the MCA, ROC office have been empaneling chartered accountants for mediation work. So look at these opportunities. These are the places where the revenue can be there. I am a Gujarati. My partners are Marwadi. The risk appetite between Gujarati and Marwadi differs a lot. And we have been able to explore that, not explore, I can say exploit to the maximum benefit at our firm level. Because the two different risk appetite, how do you get the best out of it? Is what we learned and we have explored and exploited, actually, you can say, in our profession, in our firm. Same way, you have to also look into beyond the things and try to explore the opportunities that you have within your given framework. So looking into this aspect, I will give you one or two examples of business remodeling and business reorganization, which will make you understand various things. The section 230 of Companies Act, that is compromise and arrangement, is a big area of practice that will open up. So do go through it. Now, what is that? I will tell you in brief that how do you play with it in my IBC. When I take session, I tell them about this 230 because it comes under IBC also to play. If you take a company under insolvency, is when the money is not coming, and for recovery of that money, technically application is filed. Even though the law is for resolution, but the application is always filed with the purpose of recovering the money. Okay. What is 230? 230 is also a similar section where you can come to a compromise and arrangement with the party, that is the person from whom you're, and technically thereafter, once you have that thing in understand, then you can settle that thing under compromise and arrangement scheme with that. Now this compromise and arrangement scheme, the differentiator in IBC, if the settlement is done under 12A section, you require 90% of COC's approval, that is financial creditor approval. But in compromise, there is nothing like as financial creditor. You require 75% of the creditor's approval. Now, friends, when you have a small organization, a client who is not a large client, a mid-size or a small client, okay, for him, the creditors are also on his fingertips. That, okay, 20 creditors and old relationship. But one of the new creditor is creating a problem for him. So he can actually use this tool of 230, sit with him on compromise, get other 75% creditors accept the scheme, and reschedule its balance sheet. Now, this is a huge opportunity I foresee under 230. Another opportunity, Rule 11 of Companies Act, arbitration and mediation, that is there with the ROC, where ROC can appoint a mediator. So that is another opportunity that can look into, because there any litigation that you have, that litigation will be sorted out through your mediation or conciliation. Now, place where you mediate or conciliate also increases your stature, your acceptance level with the clients. So that skill development to create is also an essential part of your now development that you need to do at your end to go about it. Talking on the reorganization or restructuring of an organization. What do you mean by restructuring an organization? I had a client who was into oil and gas industry. Okay, when the maintenance of oil and gas industry, he had a team of around 1,200 people with him. And whenever maintenance work comes, so any refinery which is opened up for maintenance, and he has to mobilize that 1,200 people plus additional 3,000 people, around 4,000 to 5,000 workers are required, because when the maintenance work is always time bound. So within 24 hours, the whole thing has to be completed, and then after the reduction can come. Now to mobilize that people every time becomes a challenge. So when we were working, I was the internal auditor for that organization. Okay, we had an opportunity at that time that the revenues were not being seen. So as an internal auditor, we were always raising certain queries where we felt there is a lack of control at certain places, especially in the payment of wages. Now the issue was that 3,000 people who they mobilize, they come from different, like migrant workers. What issue presently most of the organization will face, where the migrant workers have shifted to restart the organization. There also the people that mobilization was also migrant workers. Now migrant workers at that time, accounts, having bank accounts also was a challenge. So there was a cash withdrawal for the payment of salary, and when there is a cash withdrawal, as an auditor, we always have a red flag on it, that it should be avoided as far as possible, because cash, when it is taken out, how many dummy workers are there, how to identify the dummy workers becomes always a challenging job from the auditor's point of view. So we had been raising that red flags. Then we went into a depth. So when the accounts, what we have something known as segment accounting, right? Now, when you do that segment accounting, they have deferred the things. Now, but for the practical purpose, you can identify segment in a different manner, not as per the what accounting standard says. So you can identify the segment that you feel is a real segment. So any ancillary business which the company is doing also can be a segment of revenue. Looking into that, whether that ancillary business growth can be at what level is what you have to think of. So when we sat with the management, we came out with the various solutions, that we identified that there were other 4 things which the company is outsourcing straight away, which if they could do in-house, the revenue could increase. So initially they said, why we were doing this thing for some time, sometimes we outsource, sometimes we do in-house. So when we identified that whatever time they did in-house, there was a huge substantial margin in that work which they used to outsource, which used to increase their revenue. So we made them that you identify this outsourcing into one segment. And once it is understood as a segment, don't outsource it. Try for at least 6 months or a year to work on that segment and see the revenue. The figures that came at the end of the years were really astonishing for the management, because that segment gave him a profit of 50%, which gave the push to the company to the level of better net profit level at the overall in the profit to the level of 8%. 50% was the margin for that vertical only. But when it merged, basically overall margin increased of the company by 8%. Now, this 8% is a substantial profit that a company is having. The company with a margin of 5% to that 8% means 13% margin is a very good margin for any industry. So this is how you have to identify, help them to restructure and remodel the business. Now, when you do remodeling, I don't mean to tell them to go out of the way to start a new business altogether or go to into forward or backward integration with heavy capital intensive things. Start business modeling from the present model by restructuring it into small segments, understanding the segment, and then identifying the issues and resolving it. The revenue that will give on this remodeling will be substantially good for them. Once you are successful on this line, then you can go ahead on the advising them to give them the insight on how to go from that, how to scale up that business from one level to another. This is the area of practice where a chartered accountant, I think, can do a great job. And it is nothing new. We have been doing this in day to day, but we have not identified this as our revenue stream. We identify this as a revenue stream. We start talking to the client that we can do this and we can help you to increase the revenue. But for this, our fees is so and so. Believe me, they may negotiate it with you to a certain extent, but you will get a fees because once you show them money, they certainly are going to come back to you. So this is the areas that are remunerative that I feel one needs to enter. Restructuring of a business loan now in the years to come will be another big area to look. Stress asset, business funding stress asset, or identifying the stress asset and investing in stress asset, advising in investment in stress asset, another lucrative area and a big area of practice. So in sitting in Calcutta, you have a huge investor base, what I understand, because most of the time when I see a capital market thing, I see Calcutta on the higher side. Investors from Calcutta play a big role in capital market. Why? Because that money is the investor seats are there in Calcutta. So in Kolkata, when you see the investors, you have so many investors, you get with them and you identify a different line for the investor and become a partner with him in the advisory role, and he becoming a financial partner. You can change the game altogether. Why we only focus on our core practice? Core practice will continue and will never have an issue. But the core practice will never give you a substantial growth in your lifestyle. If you want to have a growth, if you want to have a growth in your profession, you need to do certain different things. That is where the growth will always be there. If you follow the old pattern, the growth will be on a limited thing. There is a law of scalability. There will be a stagnancy that will come. So friends, this I thought on various points, I thought to share with you. If you feel that any specific points that you would like to address, I take that before before I say anything else. It's 6:20. I think I have a time till 7 o'clock. So I have 40 minutes. So if you have any other points that you want me to address or share the ideas, then I will try to do that first. Then if nothing is there, then I have other content which I would like to share. Any specific from any participant can put the thing in the chat box probably where I can look into and answer.
President, shall I unmute all? President?
Yeah, I think Sanjay ji unmute. I think Sanjay ji unmute everybody. By raise of hands or through chat box, they can come.
All the participants are unmuted. But a lot of noises will come.
I think better, Sanjay ji.
Yes, yes. Good. President, shall I mute them?
Sanjay ji, can you hear?
Yeah, I am hearing you. Tell me.
After mute kar dijiye. Yeah, mute everybody. If somebody wants to speak, then he'll unmute himself.
Okay.
Are there any questions in the chat box?
No, there is no questions. There are no questions.
Kamdar, then I asked a couple of questions. Which through the deliberation have come to my mind. You were quoting one incident that to reduce the power cost, this installation of turbines and all, which you have arranged. So was there the advisory part involved, or you got in touch with two different vendors, like one the user and one the provider, and thereafter after the meeting, or maybe after the virtual meetings, the arrangement was done?
Mr. Snell, you have to unmute yourself.
Oh, yeah. I got in touch with three people. The user, the electricity user. I got a vendor who would be supplying me the power plants. And third, the investor who would be investing in the thing. As I always do, when I have to arrange fund for someone, I have to get them the required IRR is what requires to be done. So I sat with my investor team, and we were working, tried to discussing with them was like, how do we get now the old IRR? In the coming days, the IRR would reduce substantially. So at that time, we came to a conclusion that we should come out with some product. It happened that some day back before that, there was one webinar on this solar thing, solar power, rooftop solar thing. So in that rooftop solar event webinar, as I was free, I just attended to get a glimpse. But then I understood the thing that this can be done. So I got a technical person who helped me to understand the whole process. So we came out with a note basically of how the process can be done, how that can be done. Then I sat with my investor, explained him that this is where we can do this thing where your investment will be secured on the asset, and there is a cash flow that is going to be generated over a period. So we will do a due diligence on the companies so that we, the PPA where it is signed, that PPA will be executed and that PPA will be implemented, so that payment will not be an issue from that company. So we started identifying that way the companies where the electricity from our clientele. In these 2 months, what we have executed is within our clientele only. So we understood that this is the companies in existence in 1980s as having electricity on the higher side. And we sat with them. We had a meeting with them. We explained them that this is how what we require is your rooftop. जिसका और तुमको कोई यूज नहीं है. So the idle space we are utilizing and reducing your cost. You have to allow us to put the plant and we will sign a PPA for 15 years. Now my client who has invested has got a 15 years agreement for these things with the company which is already in existence since 1980s. So more than 40 years, 4 decades of existence continuous. The cycle of that business also can be really seen how that business they have gone through all the turmoils. So the investor also was happy, okay, this is the company I would like to invest. The client, okay, getting this put also was happy because he was happy in doing this. I was happy because I am getting my fees for doing this advisory work, getting the two clients connected. And throughout the 20 years, I am involved in the transaction. So I structured a deal that it is not a one-time revenue for me. And we, with the transparency with both the people, the buyer and the investor, we have been able to conclude. So this is a way I thought of sharing it because with your clients, from their balance sheet, you can pick up something and try to redo things, and you get good opportunities under it.
Snell, sir, I have certain.
Great. What kind of IRR they are looking for? The investors, what kind of IRR in the Western region they are looking for?
So
see, and ultimately, if
yes. So, sir, basically,
what kind of RRR, as you said, IRR is going to reduce substantially. At the present moment, what is the expected IRR?
We expect around 18 to 24%, anything in that range.
Snell, sir, I have a few questions. If President, allow me to ask.
Yes.
Sir, in case in this scenario where the lockdowns were there, all these things were there. May I ask President? I think it's not communicated. Snell, sir, in case force majeure clause is there, So last 3 months,
Right.
4 months, nothing is happening.
Right. So force majeure is already
Please go
always
ahead.
there. Yeah. Hello. Am I audible?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
are.
So force majeure clause, sir, basically what is force majeure? Now there is a government direction also on that. That force majeure, this act, in the force majeure, this what COVID-19 came, actually was normally not covered, because this cannot be a nature of God, the act of a God or nature driven thing. This is something different. But yes, force majeure clause will come into play in all the contracts. So the contracts will have to be redone with these things. All the companies will have to go through their contracts that they have entered with various organizations. A simple point: I am a director in one of the bank, cooperative bank. Okay, in the bank, a major component from the cost side in the small bank is always a HR cost, a salary cost. There is a wage agreement that is executed with the staff. There is a union that comes into play, and we have a contract of the wages with the union, based on which the payment is always done in the cooperative sector. Now, that contractual payment, now during this COVID-19 months lockdown, banks working with a minimal staff. So if I have a staff of 10 people in a branch, now we were working only with 2 people during the lockdown. 8 people not working, but because of the contractual arrangement with the client, the union, the payment were to be made. So we had to renegotiate that on these lines. Till the system becomes normal, the contractual arrangement on this part, the force majeure clause was discussed with the union, and we were able to reschedule the things on this line. So this is one of the example. For each and every contract, basically, this will come into play, and this will be enacted accordingly.
So, but now in this scenario, the IRR will come down. Suppose
Yes.
you have planned certain thing on the base of certain IRR, but
Yes.
after this scenario of COVID-19, all the IRR will come down because sales
Yes.
will come down, everything will come down. So how
Yes.
you are going to renegotiate the IRR now?
So that is how the things. That's what I'm saying. That the media, what we have to understand, that now I may not be able to renegotiate on the executed transaction. Okay, where I have executed and where there is, so in that cases, what will happen? There may be a dispute that will come. That's where the mediation or conciliation will come, and there will be a reduction in IRR for sure. People who have been enjoying 36%, 30% IRR will never now get to see that IRR in coming 1 or 2 years at least. So this IRR has to be rescheduled. So now that's where the people will have to come out with the new models where they can increase their IRR with the same investments. So that's where we will have to remodel and recheck the things.
Okay. President, your call now.
You
Sir.
also mentioned that the practice of MSME, meaning micro firms, they are not coming up for mergers and networking. So could
Yes.
you elaborate what are the deterrent factors which are not going, why MSME practitioners are not going ahead with the mergers and networking in spite of institute also focusing on this, and in many seminars the leaders have been focusing on this issue.
To be very fair, it's a challenging question that you posted to me, that why it is not happening. Look, the first and foremost is the trust and fear. This is the two things that are the hindrance. Believe me, the chartered accountants, you will find that the staff, which is there, has been normally not, you will not find a huge turnover in the staff at that level. That means the principal is always able to retain them. Reasoning why? Two things: he knows the staff quality, how he is trained. He knows how much is his requirement. Based on two, he is able to retain them. You will not find the same thing in the legal profession. Okay, in legal profession there is a huge churnout on the turnover of the staff also. Same way in legal profession, the mergers and acquisitions are also very fast, and they also split very fast. But as a chartered accountant, our mindset is such that we don't accept the supremacy of other person, and that's where we are not able to join hands with other person. And in case we join hands also, we are always skeptical of what he is doing and what he is looking into, whether he's trying to look into my clients or his client. We are not able to leave that concept from our mind that when we are joining hand, it's our client. We still say, अरे वो income tax वाला ये इसका client है, ये मेरा client है. Even in the partnership firm today also, you will find that being answered by all the things. Your staff being, अरे ये तो पोदार जी का client है, ये तो अग्रवाल जी का client है. That is where we get stuck, because we then keep in touch with that client even though we are not advising. For example, a client is being advised on GST and I am not into GST practice, but yeah, it was somehow I was linked at that time to bring that client to the firm. So I will keep in touch with that client so that that client will always say, okay, Snehal ka client hai. Now this thought process is what is the deterrent. Another deterrent is fear amongst us, that if we join hands, if I am not good at something, but I am looking to other person that, okay, I am extraordinary, I am able to do everything. Because that's what I say, as a chartered accountant, we have been, our mindset is such that we feel that we know everything and we can do everything. And because of that, we are not able to accept this change. We are not ready to accept that, okay, I am good in audit, but he's good in taxation. The time you do that, the fear will go out of your mind and the trust will build. And that's where we start looking into the joint ventures. And that's where we can merge together and grow. This basic issue is not being answered. There is no trainings being done to change our mindset, to make our mindset in that lines to how do we grow. All trainings are that we merge and we grow. We merge and we grow is not a solution. We merge with a mindset to grow. And that mindset needs to be the things. Now, another major issue is the working style. So we have to merge with the people of a same working style. So if you are a cost conscious firm, where for you to incur any cost is of your more importance. If you try and merge with a firm which is more into incurring the cost but looking at the growth, now at that time the ideology of the two people changes. So at that time also it becomes a challenging to reconcile. So whenever you want to plan a merger, the two people needs to sit together, the two firms needs to sit together, has to come out with the characteristics of the firm and characteristics of the principal partners. Once you are able to draw down these things, then you will be able to reconcile, and then you will be able to see whether the characteristics of the two firms that are merging will match or not. So when till you don't do this exercise, I don't foresee mergers being successful or networks being successful. Then it is only like I pass on the reference to you, you do the business and you give me a referral fee, you pass on a reference to me, and we say in the common parlance that we are networking partners. Networking is not that. Networking is sharing the resources, sharing the business, and also seeing that the profit grows with the growth of a firm. According to me, these are my views on that.
Very nicely explained, sir. Very nicely explained. That was what I was wanting to know for the participants. Any other questions from participants?
Yes, I have a question. Sir, I always have a doubt that whether the term enterprise in MSME, would that cover a professional entity like us, chartered accountants? I'm aware that the definition covers manufacturing enterprise as well as service enterprise, but whether service enterprise term would cover a chartered accountant in practice?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am doing, sir. I have a registration since 5 years.
Okay.
I have a firm, Jain Jagawat Kamdar and Company, which is registered, and as a IP, insolvency professional, I have to practice on my own name, that is Snehal Kamdar. So I have Snehal Kamdar also registered under Udyog Aadhar. I have also registered the Jain Jagawat firm also as under Udyog Aadhar. So I have two numbers. So when I do Snehal Kamdar's billing under insolvency, I am able to get that money also under that as per the Udyog Aadhar number within 45 days.
So we have to register there as an individual.
individual under service segment, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
No, but if it's a partnership firm, then the firm can also be registered.
Yes, firm. So my
Yeah.
firm I have registered. So firm can be
Yes.
registered.
So it's not necessary that if it is a proprietorship firm, then it has to be registered in the individual name.
Yes, yes, sir.
President, what he means, sir, what he means to say that as a IP, we are practicing individually.
Yes, yes.
If it is entity,
No. The participant, I understood, Sanjay ji. I just wanted to clarify it because the person asking the question,
Okay.
he said in that case I have to register as an individual. He being a practicing chartered accountant, he was meaning that he has to register in individual name, but provided it is a proprietorship firm,
Yes.
then only he has to register in individual. Otherwise, firm can also be
Firm.
registered.
Correct.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you.
But I believe trading firms cannot be registered.
No. Trading
Yeah,
is not
no.
covered.
But for the
Trading
amount,
firms cannot be registered.
trading firms are not to be registered under MSME, but for this package that has been announced, for that purpose, they have added under the MSME trading firms also. So the benefits of the package which has been given to MSME, in that also trading firms are allowed. Nirbhaya package which has been announced, whereby the loans which will be given, the loans will be given in a auto mode. So the 3 lakh crore package what has been announced, all banks will be sending the letter to their borrowers. The scheme is designed for MSME. It is designed for the existing borrowers only, and the existing borrowers which are not NPA or SME2 as on 25th of March. If the account is SME2 or a NPA, then that scheme will not be eligible. Others all are eligible, and all banks will have to send to the borrower a letter that you are eligible. If you are wanting to avail the scheme, kindly confirm, and the benefit of that scheme will be given to them. So it is not it's basically a push from the bank that will go to the borrower. Borrower will not have to go to the bank and say, I am eligible, give me the money. So in that scheme, what they have said is that MSME includes traders. But for the purpose of the MSME registration, it is not included. So MSME Act does not make it compulsion to register. As you are a MSME, but you are not registered. So there is no compulsion. But still, you can put it to the client that you are MSME and you want your payment is not made, and you can under the Act you can challenge him. But for that reason, if you get this certificate, it will be more helpful, because all companies will ask you show us a proof that you are MSME. And in MSME, registration is done on self-declaration. So you don't have anything else also to do. You just have to declare that you are eligible under MSME definition, and you have to register yourself. Yes.
Sir, I have one question here. In this particular MSME definition, have they given the definition of turnover?
Yes, turnover. Now they have rechanged the turnover and investment. It's a combined. So you have to satisfy both the conditions.
No, but
Turnover plus investment.
But turnover includes export turnover.
Sir, turnover includes export turnover as of now. So that clarifications have been sent, I think, and awaiting.
Okay, the clarification.
But according to present definition, turnover includes export turnover.
So as on the last 31st March 2020, turnover will counted or 19 turnover?
So in the deliberation that we had 2 days back at our Senior Institute event, where various bankers had been there, they said that provisional numbers will have to be given by the promoter. So if you are till February, numbers are already known to you of the sales. Only March is there. So March, what business they have done provisionally, that they have to put it across and do it. So it is not on the last audited balance sheet. It will be on the actual provisional numbers.
Okay.
So they will have to provide the numbers till February and then March provisional number.
Sure.
That is
So
what,
one more question. Like
yes,
you
sir.
said that the sorry.
Yes,
sorry.
sir, yes,
Please carry on. I interrupted.
No, I was
you
just
said that
saying
the banks
that,
will throw offer to the MSME clients,
yes,
and maybe the trading firms also are eligible for the MSME loan under
yes,
that package of 3 lakh crore.
yes.
So in that case, will the bank insist upon the Udyogadar from trading MSMEs
No.
for self-declaration?
Yeah, so it is always better. Look, now the SOPs or the bank's internal policies will be framed on these lines. But unless you have identified yourself as a MSME when you have applied for the loan, or unless the bank knows you are MSME, how will they classify? So they may classify you from the basis of the data they have in the MSME, and they can send you. The requirement of getting registration with MSME is not the requirement of the scheme, but it is in the interest of the trader or any of the party. If it is a MSME, take registration. There is nothing else to be done. You just have to take one registration. That's all. Its validity is for a lifetime unless you go and revoke it.
Right.
Right.
Any other questions from the floor, from the participants?
President, I want to ask one question.
Please carry on. Please go ahead.
Sir, very good evening. Just I want to know that in the last when the MSME registration is concerned, it's always been the difficult when sometime through the Udyog Aadhaar, the registration is not possible actually. So is there any, though there is a criteria of turnover and also the investment, considering that whether the bank will consider that or not if the MSME registration is not done? Do you have any idea about that?
Yeah, sir, that's what I said. Okay, if you have not taken the MSME registration, but you fulfill the criteria, and the bank is aware, because when bank is lending you, he knows what is your investment, capital investment in plant and machinery. They know what is your turnover because you are filing the regular statement with them. So based on that, they will send you. It is not that based on the certificate only they will allow you into enter the scheme. It is based on the criteria. Even if you fulfill the criteria, you are MSME. Whether you are registered with MSME Udyog Aadhaar or not is not a challenge.
Sir, I
but
hope
better to have that certificate, because that will help you to avoid lot of correspondence.
Sir, I hope there is nothing to do with the service sector or the manufacturing sector or the proprietorship, partnership or private limited.
Yes, sir.
They all are equal,
Nothing.
hopefully.
All are equal. For the scheme, all are equal. MSME, they are not bifurcated into that.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Right.
President, do you have any question now?
If anyone is having any questions, otherwise, DN sir, you wrote something?
No, just I like the observation, which is the mindset of the chartered accountants.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And that is very true. I appreciate that somebody is talking like this. Otherwise, people don't talk like this.
Sir, if we don't speak in our forums, when we are speaking to a chartered forum, if we don't speak openly, how do we then look for talking to anyone?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We need to open up ourselves. We need to talk amongst us if we feel that we need to grow. If we need to change the whole system, we have to speak.
True.
Right. So,
sir, I have one question.
Yes.
I'm a chartered accountant, practicing since last 2.5 years.
Yes.
For young chartered accountants, it's difficult to develop the specialized practice. For the expenses of the firm and other parts, we need to work in general practice as well.
Right.
So, what is the ideal time when we should go for specialized practice? Because we thought of working in specialized practice because we like specific area, and we would like to devote that time in that particular area.
So, Apnil, now you tell me which is the area of your liking. Let me just answer your questions from your things only. What is the area of a specialized practice as a young chartered accountant you would like to do? Which is the area that you look into?
Sir, in general, my firm would like to go for a system audit.
System audit. Okay. So when you plan to go for the specialization into system audit, how much study on the system audit you have done? start making a write-up, start making writing a blog, start sharing your knowledge that on this system audit you have so and so thing not have an idea. I will share in my startup days when I started my practice. I had a habit of jotting down the things. I have, as I say, I have a habit of reading a lot. So I read, I jot down. I read, I jot down. And then I used to put a mail to all the people. Okay. Now it happened that in my second year of practice, I went for a assignment, bidding for one assignment for a company which is well known, Dabur company. There was some assignment for which we had to pitch. So we pitched for that, and there was a call for the presentation to be done. We went there, and when I went there, my astonishment was that the four people team who was sitting, and the one who was GM who was heading that thing. When I shared my card, the firm name was Jain Jagawat Kamdar and Company, and the mails that I used to share was with that header, that confidential information for knowledge purpose. I used to send every weekly updates. I used to send to my friends. I had a list of friends whom I used to send. Now, during that interview, what happened? The GM said, "Okay, Jain Jagawat." Then he called someone and asked that, "Arey, wo Jain Jagawat ka file leke aao to." I was shocked because I had met him for the first time. I have entered Dabur's office for the first time. I don't know how he came. He's talking on these lines. So I asked him, "Do you know?" So he said, "Wait for a minute." Then he came out with a file. The mails that I used to send to my friends, someone would have been forwarding it to him also. When it used to reach him, he thought found it good. So what he had done, he had asked his assistant कि जितना भी जैन जगावत का मेल आता है ना फाइल करना, और जब उसको टाइम मिलता है तभी वो गो थ्रू करता था कि यार क्या क्या नया अपडेट्स आया है, क्या है करके. Now when we went for this discussion, it was like very clear that he said कि you are already shortlisted because you have already done the work which other people are thinking of doing it. Now, this is how you create yourself a space for yourself for the area of your liking. So when you push yourself as a specific thing, like in 3 years, I have been pushing myself as an IBC expert. So people call me, ask for me for advice on IBC, and I talk only on IBC. I write only on IBC. After a great time, this is that I am talking, you can say at least more than 3 years, approximate around 3 years, I have been talking on non-IBC topic. So I was happy when Sanjay bhai told me, Snell bhai, ye topic pe, how would you like to take it? Because क्या होता है, एक ही टॉपिक में बोल बोल के भी मैं भी थक जाता हूँ. So today I got a new topic and the topic interests me. The CA is my passion. Being a CA, even at IBC, when I practice as an IP, I always say that I'm a CA first, then IP. So against CA, I cannot hear uplifting the profession to a next level is my aim. So this type of topic, what has been given was something really interesting. So I thought that I will take this challenge. Same way for a young chartered accountant, when he has to push, our profession is a knowledge profession where we are considered as a knowledge bank. So when we want to make ourselves known to the third parties that we have a knowledge, expert knowledge on some subject, we really have to make that point through our write-ups, through our knowledge sharing experiences. Then only we will be able to make it a point. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. Otherwise, it takes 20 years to be known as an expert in the market, fairly speaking. So start building yourself on that line, Swapnil. You will certainly see the fruits of that in a very time to come.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, there is another question from Nidhi Jain in the chat box. There are any employment generation related benefit available to the MSMEs?
So MSME, there is a business opportunities that have been opened up. As far as employment is concerned, I don't think employment option something has been said in MSME. But yes, as far as the profession is concerned or business is concerned, in the scheme that has been given, what they have done is they have allowed that till 250 crores or 300 crores, if I'm not wrong, all the contracts which initially government used to outsource it to foreign parties have been stopped. So that will be only given to MSME people now.
I think
So
200.
even the tenders, government tenders,
Yes.
with respect to our profession, also which comes out will be under that scheme. So we can get the benefit of that from that line. But to my understanding and knowledge, I fail to recall any condition for employment purpose.
Thank you.
But I think, Sanjay ji, there are a couple of benefits for employment generation under income tax.
Yeah,
But
it's
they
there.
have not been announced as of now. They exist in the statute book for quite some time.
It is there for some certain deductions are also there
Yes.
for those employment.
Yes.
It is there.
Yes.
Right. Right.
I think it's 6:53. Any other questions are not there?
Well, then we summarize. Thank you, Kamdar sir, for a nice deliberation. In fact, it was a very candid discussion, very open discussion. Very rarely we have on webinars or maybe seminars. So you spoke about the limitations in budgets, networking. You also spoke of unproductive. In fact, these free services are a universal problem across the profession, because clients also take it for granted that whatever they are entering into the contract, besides that they will be seeking certain services, and it has become almost a usual practice for everyone to go with it. So now time has come that chartered accountants need to be over professional and limit themselves with this kind of free services. Networking, conciliations, mediations, this kind of jobs being taken up are definitely new opportunities. Basically ideas of syndication amongst the clients for providing services, maybe providing the technology and making arrangements. And that you spoke that the arrangements are made in a way that over the term of 15 years, the revenues are generated to the chartered accountants also. It's a unique idea. So I would say that we are greatly benefited with your deliberation. Thank you very much. And I request our General Secretary Rajesh Ji Agarwal to propose a vote of thanks for him.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Rajesh Ji, please.
Good evening, everyone. I am audible, sir.
Yeah. Yes, please go on.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of DTP and myself, I thank CS Nehal Kamdar from Mumbai for giving a wonderful deliberation. I thanks all the past president and office bearer of our association for joining the webinar, and thanks all the participants for joining the meeting. Thanks to all.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you, President. Thank you, Kamdar.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Kamdar sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are closing down now. Rajesh?
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I am ending the meeting.
Nilma ji, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.